Hello YouTube, in this video I will attempt to cut out and mount this 25mm thick steel plate under column here on my little mini mill, and I will also attempt to mount the bellows on the 60/40 router's x-axis. And I can also show you that I hooked up this little lubrication system temporary yesterday just to try it out, and it worked excellent. I have some oil in, you can see the level here, and just one pull and it lubricates very nice. And there are some more fittings I will have to hook up down under here and for the ball screws, but super nice that the fittings fitted. Feels like if fittings are included, that most of the time they won't fit. Anyways, I got a new thing here also for tightening tool holders for the mini mill, so I will start off with mounting this one. I think I will have it here. I think it will do. Nice. So I now mounted the steel sheet and placed some polycarbonate in between me and the saw for protection. Feels like it's taking too long of a time, and also that I'm destroying the cutting blade or cutting disc, as well as sparks flying everywhere. So I think I will try the large reciprocating saw instead. So let's go with plan B. This one got some nice power, but it's kind of scary since I don't really have very good fixturing here for this one, but hopefully it will work. So let's give this a try. Working better than expected actually. Right, so now I need to mill off the sides here so that it will look decent, and I thought that perhaps some power feed might be nice. So I have some pulleys here and a belt, and I did buy one extra stepper motor, so I will try to bore up this one, see if I can fit it on here and temporarily mount a stepper motor to get some power feed. So I now mounted the pulley here into this ER hex style holder, and the inner diameter is 10mm, so I mounted 10mm end mill to kind of see that I am in the center. So I will now change over to a 12mm end mill and try to drill it or bore it up a bit. The column is so low at the moment, so I can't use regular drill since they will be too long, but hopefully when I'm done with the plate I will be able to use longer drills. Alright, so let's swap over to a 12mm one and try to drill it up. So here we have the temporary power feed, and it works super nice actually. I just made a first test cut here, and it looks, sorry about that windy noise, it looks very legit, gotta say. So the only thing I need to do now is to make some kind of connection here, so I don't have to have it into this little vise here. I just mounted it like this since I wanted to test it out and see if it worked. Anyways, my father stepped by, so I had a chat with him, so I didn't record what I did with this other pulley here, but basically I took a piece of ER11 tool holder that I had. These ones are $3 to $4, and I bought two for a while ago since they are very useful to make connections between shafts of different diameters, since you can put different kinds of collets in here. So I did put a collet in here and tighten it to the motor shaft, since the motor shaft was 6.35mm and I didn't have a drill that size. I think it's some kind of inch drill I will need for that. But then I took you can see there is a small shaft in here. Then I took a small piece of drill and used as shaft. Drills are very nice to use since you have them in like 4.5, 5.5 millimeters, so super nice to use for this kind of purpose. And yeah, then I simply took and test mounted it into this little precision vise here. Found this piece on the floor. This was a test piece I made for the lathe, so I will use this one for the manual mill. The holes didn't really line up where they should on this one, so but for this one it will be okay. And for controlling it, I'm using this one here for changing the speed. And to change direction, I simply wired or connected a simple switch to positive and negative on the power supply here. So very easy. So it's super nice to see that it works. I will try and do some more cutting here, so I will be finished with this one soon. So here we have the piece. The two shorter sides looks pretty okay, but I had to file some on the radius here, and I also filed some on this long side here, since I didn't have enough of travel to cut this one, so I had to cut in the middle first and then at the two ends, so didn't look super good. But I thought that I will start up Grandpa's old belt grinder. I think this one is for wood mainly, but I sharpened a lot of knives on this one as a kid. So at first it was stuck, so the motor just stalled, but I moved the belt a bit, and then I was able to adjust it so that it will run in the I would say that that worked better than expected. So let's do some drilling. Got a really nice idea here. Here we have some nice cast iron, and I initially bought this one to machine a headstock out of it for a lathe. But since I have the M-Couture now, I won't need this one, so I'm thinking that I will mount this one onto the steel plate and then the column onto this one. And that will be a very strong connection, I think. At least I will give it a try. So as you can see, I drilled a small hole, or two small holes, the manual mill, but I couldn't fit the 8.5mm, so I had to use this one and drill up the remaining part by hand, but it went kind of smooth. So let's try and do some tapping in cast iron. That will be interesting. I think I need to place the camera on the tripod. Goes very nice. So I went through all the 3 taps, so I now just tap the final full dimension. I had to flip the part upside down to let out some cast iron dust so it wouldn't stock up down in the hole. You can see here if we tilt it, but it actually... So it's a new day, and as you can see, I placed some pieces of steel here, and this one is the cutoff from this piece, and I have a 40mm times 40 square iron here, a flat iron, and smaller square iron, and an angle iron, and some smaller parts here. And I will try to figure out a way to use these ones to make a very strong connection between the base plate here and the compound table. no need really to make a very strong base plate for the column if I can't tie them tight together. The chain ain't stronger than its weakest link, so I will have to come up with something, and I think I will do, but I'll have to think for a while, I think. So before I take it apart, I need to drill 2 more holes here and then 4 holes on top here for the column. So I think I will start off with that, and then I will improvise a bit, and hopefully it will be pretty good. So I now marked out some more holes to drill for. The plan is to use 2 pieces of 40 x 40 square iron here and here, and bolt them down into this plate, and on the other end bolt them down into the compound table. So that's the plan. And then 2 more holes here for bolting down into the cast iron piece. So I now mounted the plate to the cast iron piece and using the steel piece as template. So let's see how deep we are. We need to be at 30 millimeters of depth plus 25. So we need to drill down to 55 millimeters. Oops, sorry. So a couple of minutes later, we are at almost 57 millimeters. So that's about 2 millimeters more than what I need. So that's good. Always nice to have some extra room for the tap at the bottom of the hole. So yeah, let's lift this one up to the workbench and remove it and do some tapping. I now tapped these 2 holes into the cast iron, and if we flip it over, that wasn't a good idea to do with one hand, perhaps. You can see that I marked some spots here where I will drill for the column. And I also noticed that I missed out on this hole here, so I need to drill this one as well. So let's do some drilling. I used quite low RPM when I did the drilling previously, and I think it worked okay. That's also so that this one won't move, since if I push it a bit too hard I will stall the motor, and that's better than having the piece moving. Let's see what will happen now. RPM decreased about 200. So you can see that the motor is very weak at these lower RPMs. So I drilled up the 3 remaining holes on the manual mill, used a 6mm drill. But since I will need to tap for M8, I needed to drill 6.8, so I changed over and drilled the remaining 0.8mm off by hand, since I couldn't fit that long of a drill in the manual mill as it is right now. But what needs to be done now is to What needs to be done now is to mill out some pockets here. I think it is about 2 to 3 millimeters I have to take off, since the compound table slides over a bit. So it's this piece here that I need to make clearance for. So nice with some milling. That was a long time ago now. Feels like I've only been drilling holes recently. So here is how the milling turned out. The finish looks a bit different. I used different RPMs. I shifted over to a 12mm end mill to get nice radius here. I don't really know which finish I prefer. This one feels a bit more even, but it's a lot of small marks. I think this one is the best, but this one looks a bit better, I think. Anyways, I will have to use some sandpaper on the edges here, I think, since they are super sharp. So what needs to be done now is to cut 2 pieces of this 40 by 40. That should be around 38 centimeters. And I will use the reciprocating saw for that. So, wish it was like that. However, it wasn't. The workbench here, Grandpa's workbench, is tilting like a downhill slope, so as well as the shelf, so some stuff came down. The workbench almost reciprocated like the saw itself, so not very nice. So I think it's time to take the mill apart now. I will have to do the rest drilling by hand. So I now tapped the holes here for the column. So here we have the column. Let's see if the screws will fit. Yeah. So I'm pretty happy with what I accomplished so far, but I think I need to end this video now, since it will be way too long otherwise. But I will continue to work on this one. I will just make a new video, and not too much left to do really. I need to drill holes into this one for the compound table here, 4 holes, and then I need to drill holes to attach this base plate to these ones, but I already have the holes drilled into this one, so I can use this one as template. And then I need to perhaps do something here. Here is one idea I have: adding some angle iron, bolting it down into here, and then from above or from under and up. So please click thumbs up, and I would be super happy also if you haven't done it already, if you subscribe to my channel. And thanks for everyone that have subscribed so far. It's really encouraging seeing that the number is growing. although I do this mostly because I enjoy it, and nobody I know really do enjoy this kind of stuff, so it's nice to be able to share it on YouTube. So yeah, hopefully I will be back pretty soon. Take care and see ya.